Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Mira, and I will be playing Sammy Jax this evening,
Hi, I'm Avi, and I'll be playing your boy Arata tonight.
whom we love very much. I love the good bean so much, Avi. You have no idea how much I love him and how excited I am to have Sammy talk to one of his good friends again.
I am excited. I am also excited to have Arata talk to another one of his good friends.
hmm All right, this is kind of a flashback, kind of interlude FPS. We're going back in time, to when there was a sleepover event, uh, um, over at Sammy's garden, and Arata, like, tell me your thoughts. Like, bring me up to speed on how you kind of felt about Sammy's the fact that he pulled out a painting and then boom, suddenly it's a house.
He thinks it's fucking amazing. Like no idea if Sammy painted that himself. I don't think he said he did.
No, I don't think he actually said if he did it himself or if he got it from Glorps, but spoiler alert, he got it from Glorps.
But like Arata thinks it's the tightest shit.
hmm
Just a portable house you can take anywhere. God. um, but yeah, he's been chilling here for a bit. Um,
hmm
do you want me to say he's somewhere specific?
well, he's kind of like there's the whole entire place that you could really explore. There are the bedrooms way in the back, where one of them is where Bevin is currently sleeping. But yeah, Arata can. Sammy told Arata that he could explore if he really wanted to.
I think he would. Yeah, actually. He's probably he's been in the kitchen and the living room for a bit,
hmm
and so he's probably gonna go exploring a bit.
hmm
And he goes upstairs. I think he's gonna poke around the reading area, the library.
hmm Yeah, and it's you have like it's not entirely well depicted there, but it's got several different rows of bookshelves, and a lot of them are kind of empty. It's very obvious that Sammy hasn't really had that much opportunity to flush out any book collections that he might get. It's very much a as you're going on your adventures, if you have stuff you want to display on shelves or books you want to do, you can display them. Like there are a few little kind of like small books though that are uh, stacked kind of neatly onto um, the shelves. And if you want, you can really quickly roll me just um, just a quick insight
Insight,
or
huh?
perception. Insight or
Insight,
perception.
insight or
I
perception.
sorry, I I meant to say perception, but then my brain was like insight, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go with that. But yeah, no, roll perception for me, please.
All right, that's a 12.
Okay, as you're looking at the bookshelves, you kind of notice that the books aren't entirely as thick as you would expect books to be on a bookshelf and stuff. Like they're not novel length books, but just kind of idly looking at the spines of these books, you just kind of picture, well, not picture, you just kind of figure that, oh, hey, Sammy just kind of likes shorter books.
Yeah, that checks out. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide what he would do. Because I do think he probably
hmm
took his bag with him just because he doesn't want to be want to leave it alone. And also, Genie rides in that bag.
hmm hmm Yeah, that's fair. This is a magic place. You don't really know what's gonna happen with your stuff in a magic place that you've never been in before,
Yeah,
even if it belongs to one of your friends.
yeah, and hopefully, and so I guess what he's gonna do is he's probably gonna pick, I guess, a random book out and sit down somewhere and start reading.
Mm-hmm. As you sit down to read the book, you realize that this is a children's book. It's very simple, um, very kind of full of adventure, and it's kind of like the brown bear, what do you see? All kind of book, like kind of that kind of stuff, but D&D flavored and like just short kids books. And as you page through the book, you realize all of the books on the shelves are basically on that same level, maybe a few short tiny novels that are like just when you graduate from children's books with big pictures to the adventure novels
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
he does find that interesting, but he's like, you know what? I picked out this book anyway. I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, it's a really fun book, even though it's made for little kids. You enjoy it. It's a fun little adventure, and I feel like by the time you finish reading the book a few times over, maybe grab a few other books. They're all basically the same level of really fun little cute stories and stuff. Really easy to read. You breeze through many of them, frankly. Uh, Sammy comes up the stairs, and he's got two mugs of hot chocolate in his hands. Hi, Arata. I see you found the books.
Oh, hey, hey, yeah, I'm just poking around. Hope you don't mind.
Well, I told you it was okay. I don't really have a lot going in right now, so sorry you had to read those books.
Oh,
I figured that he just kind of trails off into muttering and actually takes a sip with one of the hot chocolate mugs and hands the other mug to you.
oh no! Like Arata takes the mug, but he's like, oh no, it's fine. I just haven't read a book in a while, so you know. I mean, I do know a couple of stories, but I don't know if the books are here in Inkwell. So, but like, I can give you some recommendations.
Uh, Errata, roll insight. Oh,
Wrong
wrong command.
command.
Okay, with an 18, you realize that Sammy, while appreciating the thought of book recommendations, they there was a reason why he sounded extremely sheepish about not having any other types of books for you to read, because that's the books that you're reading, that's his level of reading right now.
Oh,
He's
Sammy.
his level of reading is very much still that elementary, just barely graduating from, like it's very limited. He's smart, but he's very, very limited in his reading experience. And yes, he is 18.
Arata's sitting here like, well, time to dig a hole for myself. Just casually takes a sip of hot chocolate. Okay. But yeah, like I imagine how he's sitting. He's got the bag off to one side, and Jeannie is probably like curled up right next to him.
hmm Yeah, he's probably sitting in one of the chairs that's like the big, comfy uh cushion chairs and stuff where you can just tuck yourself in and read a really good book for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those like it's also got plenty of space for a kitty to just curl up right beside you and just vibe and purr and chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just and like as like you kind of like look around the library nook area, it's very just it's called the library nook, but it's honestly just the cozy corner. It's just where you can go sit down and vibe, perhaps like sit on the couch and like just sketch for a long time. And like as you like look up at like you kind of notice that there's like a ton of like miscellaneous like art supplies around the nook too. Like Sammy had been like working on some art projects and gotten an idea, set the supplies down, and then like had kind of wandered off slightly to like do another art project, and the cycle kind of went through several times. Not enough to make a mess, but like just enough to kind of go, oh, yep, they're scatterbrained artist right here.
Oh,
This
I
is
love
an
that.
artist's home.
uh, Arata's kind of used to that because his boyfriend's an artist. Um, what kind of art supplies are we talking? Are they like
Uh,
paintbrushes and?
there's probably a few paintbrushes, kind of like they're not in the water. Like it looks like they've been cleaned and then left to dry and
Mm-hmm.
stuff next to a mug of water because that can actually damage your brushes. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
um,
Yikes.
and then there's like probably another bit where like there's a pile of sketchbooks with just like some like rudimentary like charcoal laying on one of the pages and stuff, and like then there's like some probably colored pencils with another supply, like another pile of whatever he was working with a little bit farther away. Just random bits and bobs of like, oh, he was working on something here and then he got an idea for another project over here, and then oh hey, another project. Voila, just random bits and bobs, not enough to destroy the area, but enough to go, yep, his sometimes his muses have been wandering.
He knows that feeling. So like I think Arata like kind of pauses after he offers the book recommendations, drinks the hot chocolate, and then he just goes. He kind of like gestures to the art supplies, and he goes, "Are you an artist?"
Mm, yeah, yeah, um, I paint it. Well, yeah, I I am an artist. Yeah, and Sammy just kind of reaches up and scratches at the back of his neck, and he's looking a little bit more comfortable because art it's one of his passions. But at the same time, oh, this is one of his passions. He's never actually expected to get this far to actually just casually talk to people about his passions.
Yeah. Arata's just, oh, that's cool. My boyfriend back home is also an artist.
I I remember when we went out for you gave me curry and we went out for ramen after that because you didn't eat, you pecker. Uh, um, you mentioned that you had a boyfriend, if I remember right, if Mira remembers right.
Oh, yeah. He's well, he's something. Uh, I could talk hours about him, and there is a slight blush in his cheeks.
Sammy actually grins at that and he just kind of like settles himself into the like kind of just like on the ground in front of Arata and is just like cupping his hot chocolate and just kind of he makes a go on gesture. I feel like at Arata because and like his shading is just like a golden rose airbrushed with rose hue to it as he kind of just is like casually leaning on his shoulder on his knee. I couldn't remember the term for knee for a moment. Gosh damn.
Okay, hang on. I have to look something up really quick. Because Arata's going to tell an embarrassing story about his boyfriend. So I have to find this now. Okay. Okay, so he goes, well, I should probably preface this with, by saying that, like, yeah, my boyfriend's an artist. It's his biggest passion, but I love to embarrass him. So you're going to get an embarrassing story about my boyfriend.
Sammy laughs at that.
Okay,
It's like, okay.
so before I started dating Yuina, we've been friends for like a little less than a year before we started dating, but like he asked me for some help to help him get out of an art slump, right? So
Mhm.
we decided to go to like a couple of different places. One of which he wanted to check out in order to see like if he can get inspiration was a church. Uh,
Sammy nods. He doesn't see any issues with this so far.
um, and we're talking about like something about like crucifixion or whatever, and but get this. Yuita asked me if I wanted a model for him, right? And I reply as a joke if he wanted me to strip. And he said yes. Before realizing that we're still in a church.
Sammy's like starting to wheeze.
Like, I. It was not intentional in the slightest. Like, but I distinctly remember him saying something along the lines of being found stark naked in a church would be bigger news than whatever the hell was going on news wise back home. I forgot. I
So, Sammy's on the like he's like managed to like set his hot chocolate down, but he's like on the floor rolling with laughter at this point.
Arata's also laughing at this because it's such a funny story and he loves telling it. And the the craziest thing is that somehow before it could get any worse, the pastor at this church comes in to ask what we were doing.
Just you know that one gif of like the person who's just like barely like slammed their hand down on the table and just the caption of wheeze and it's
Yes.
shaking? That's Sammy right now. Like I can't do the noise that he would be making justice, but he's just losing his shit.
So anyway, that's how I was asked to strip naked and model for an artist in a church.
It just I feel like Sammy like finally just kind of heaves himself up and like he's still giggling and he's just like don't don't worry if I ever want you to model for me you don't have to strip. In fact, no, I don't want you to strip.
Well, I don't know whether to be offended or relieved.
Just wheeze. Just I already, I'm already interested in two other people.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, okay. Calm down. Oh, oh man. Oh,
Just like I feel like they just take a moment to just breathe because that was funny. And then just like Sammy just kind of like heaves one of those like big kind of like trying to like recalibrate your self size after laughing too hard.
you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
So it was either this or the lobster story, and I'm glad you like this one because the lobster story is a little bit funny.
Lobster story.
Do I want to get into the lobster story?
I don't know if you do, because if you do, I might not be able to breathe for the rest of the evening.
Okay,
And
fine. I'll tell later.
I kind of like breathing a lot more than I, you're you're funny, Arata. You're really really funny.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe another time then.
Yes, yes. I actually want to drink my hot chocolate if it's all the same to you.
Go ahead. I mean, I'm not stopping you.
And like, he just kind of giggles into his hot chocolate as he takes a big long sip of it and just kind of goes, So,
So,
Rada, uh, when we were hanging out after when Gil tried to rob the museum and we managed to stop him and stuff, and we were just kind of sitting at the park bench eating ramen.
yeah.
I didn't really want to get into why I was why I kind of treated you really bad during that case then, but you're my friend and you I feel like you deserve to know why I was so much of a peckneck to you during then.
I mean, I got over it, but I mean, we're cool now, right?
Yeah, but we're I said that it was nothing you did, and that's right. You didn't do anything. That was I knew a real kind in the past who was absolutely the worst, and he made me not trust you guys when honestly I should, because not everybody is the same as one person, no? And I shouldn't have let my experience paint you in that kind of negative light. I'm sorry. I know I apologized when we were hanging out earlier, but I just wanted to say I'm sorry again for thinking you could ever be like him.
Arata kind of just takes a deep breath and he sighs, and he's definitely sobered up ever like after the whole
Mm-hmm.
embarrassing story about his boyfriend. Um,
Mhm.
um, but he's holding his mug in both hands, and he kind of leans forward, kind of looks at Sammy, and oh boy, what is he gonna say? I have I have the thought in my head. I'm trying to figure out how to put it into words. Give me a sec.
Oh, mood. Oh, mood. Take all the time you need to get the words to come out.
I mean, Sammy, like I said, I'm over it now, and you apologized, and how do I say this? I think that you growing from that, I guess, is apology enough. I mean, we're friends, right?
Yeah, you're one of the closer friends that I have.
Oh, you're gonna make me blush.
He kind of like gives like a small grin at that.
But no, seriously, man, I don't want you to have to worry about offending me or anything, because I got a thick skin. Um, believe it or not, I've had worse things happen to me. You're all right, Sammy. Yeah, you're good. You're you're really good.
Sammy like gives a grin at that, but like he's still kind of like e- even though Arata's like reassured him and stuff, it he still feels really bad about it. You know, he like he just kind of looks at Arata and he's like, yeah, I guess like, I know it's better to just move on from being a picnic and stuff, but like just I'm a little worried that I'm gonna meet another person like you, Arata, and my experiences with him are. He just kind of trails off, and he just kind of rubs at the bottom of his mouth, bottom of his jaw for a moment, and then like his hand kind of reaches down and rubs at his wrist. The hand that's not holding the mug kind of rubs at his wrist absentmindedly. If you want, you can roll perception for me.
Oof.
Okay, 7. You kind of just see him rub at rainbow colored dots on his wrist. You can't really tell if they're freckles or if they're splotches of paint that Sammy just hadn't washed off his wrist. You don't really know.
I think what Arata does is he kind of leans back against the little the back of the couch or whatever it is he's sitting in, the armchair. Um, and he goes, "Do you want to get it off your chest?
What?
Do you want to get it off your chest?"
Uh, and Sammy thinks about it. He's just like, it's heavy, you know, Arata. It's Not a good story.
Sammy, I got my ass kicked by a bunch of cops. I think I can take a little heavy.
And you take Sammy just kind of lifts up his arm and is just like, someone thinking you're just a component for a spell. And he's deliberately showing you now, Arata, and those rainbow dots, those are deliberate. Those aren't just dots or scars.
There's like a. He takes a deep breath, and it looks like there's kind of a change in his demeanor. And he just goes, "Who did this to you?"
His name's Simon Sinclair. He's real kind. Real kind, not real kind.
I want to kick this guy's ass.
It, a lot of people want to kick his ass. He's still out there. I've I've been on the streets since I was 10. Arata. I met him when I first got on the streets, right before I got off the streets, and most recently I got kidnapped by him, and it every time it's left me more and more scarred.
And he only does this to you.
No, there's been others. It's his job to take tunes and take them off the streets, and he's I know you don't have designs, but he look he just there's a slight shift in his shading. It's red tinged now, and he just scowls and he looks friendly. You can trust him. Oh, you're hungry. Let me take you somewhere where you can be fed. And then he just and it's very, very clear that Sammy's trying to hold his temper at this point because oh, he's angry at Sinclair. But there's also the tinge of purple in his shading too. Because he's terrified of this guy.
I don't think you need like a an insight roll for this. Arata doesn't look.
Mm-hmm.
Arata's just. Oh, he doesn't like this. He's pissed off just hearing about this man, and like, there was a difference between like right before he asked if it was just Sammy who's been through this, and then learning that there were other tunes. He looks furious.
Mm-hmm.
But he takes a big deep breath and tries to calm himself down, and he opens one arm kind of questioningly, and like he's gesturing in case Sammy wants like a hug or a side hug.
Sammy, I'm just really quickly gonna roll a thing real quick just to see. Okay, he looks at you, Arata, and he shakes his head, and you can see him shaking, but he doesn't really want to be touched right now. He doesn't feel like he has the control to keep himself from potentially lashing out. Even though he is actually holding his temper, it's by the threads, and he's just like it wasn't just me. He's had Toons killed before for being just for their ink, and just if maybe if I had just gotten a little sooner, maybe some of them would still be here.
Hey, you can't blame yourself for that. Like, Sammy, whatever this guy did, killing people, it's not your fault.
I knew one of the people that he killed. Miss Holly, she ran a garden supply store. I'd go there every once in a while, and I didn't know her too well. She was an evergreen UP in Toon. Very, very nice. And just trying to figure out who the peck killed her led me right to him. Don't even pecking know what they're. And like he just angrily sighs and then like just takes a huge chug of his hot chocolate. I know what they wanted my ink for, but I don't know what they wanted their ink for hers. I've never hated someone as much as I pecking hate him, Rada.
You have every right to. You are entitled to your feelings, Sammy.
It scares me, Rada. I don't like feeling like this, but just I'm angry. And like I feel like he's just kind of staring into his hot chocolate cup at this point.
Yeah, and Arata's he's watching Sammy, and he's got this internal debate. I'm not sure if you can like tell, but like he's got this internal debate in his head, trying to decide between offering advice and trying to like diffuse the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And he gestures to one of the to one of the couch cushions, and he goes, "You want to like punch a pillow or something?"
Sammy kind of looks up from his from his cup, and then he's just like, "You can punch a pillow?" And his shading is now, instead of red, is now a very gray shade.
I mean, usually when I get frustrated with something, I either scream into a pillow or punch one. Um, I don't have a punching bag at home, so a pillow's the next best thing, and it helps get, it helps relieve some of that anger for a little bit at least. But I mean, if you want to try, I can hold your drink.
Sammy kind of grins at that and is just like, you know what? Yeah, let's give this a go. And he hands Arata his half drunken cup, and we just roll to hit a pillow, I guess.
uh,
Okay. Oh shoot! I should probably really quickly just roll a d20 to see.
oh
Okay,
boy.
no, a pillow does not have an AC of 19. Come on, dice parser. Okay, that's better. An AC of 11 is much more sense than an AC of 19.
Oh my god.
So yeah, he hits the pillow, and I'm not even really gonna roll damage. Really, just bump, and like maybe a few comedic comedic feathers float down from where Sammy's hit the pillow. And it's just like, huh, uh, not as satisfying as actually punching the pecker in the face, but it's good in a pinch.
Yeah, well, I mean, it helps me through some smaller stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And Sammy kind of just grabs the pillow that he punched and just kind of grabs it and takes it with him, and like puts it into into his lap, and then holds out his hand for his cup, and then kind of tilts his head and is like, I know that you uh, encouraged me to get it off my chest, but do do you want to get anything off your chest? You mentioned getting beat up by police. That's heck the police, but that doesn't sound good, you know? If if you want to share,
Oh,
um,
Sammy. Kinds of stories I got. I don't even know where to begin. Hmm. And he pauses, and he kind of like leans back in his chair. He's handed off Sammy's drink back, right? He's
mhm.
leaning back in his seat, and he's kind of like, he looks like he's thinking, but there's also like this look in his eyes, like he's listening to somebody who isn't there. And
Hmm.
what languages do you have for Sammy?
Sammy has Grolix, Common, and Toonsign.
All right. So like, yeah. What. He murmurs something under his breath, is in a language you do not recognize, and he goes, "Did I ever tell you that I got arrested for a crime I never committed?"
Out of character. Did Arata ever tell Sammy that?
I think he mentioned it in like passing, but never elaborated on it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so in character, whoop, Sammy kind of tilts his head like, you mentioned it, but you never explained.
Okay.
I'm assuming that being beat up by the police has something to do with that.
this might get a little bit long, so just buckle down with me, okay?
Sammy kind of mimes buckling up.
Arata appreciates this. And he takes a drink, another sip from his hot chocolate, and I think by now Jeannie looks a little bit more attentive, kind of listening in on the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and Arata just goes, so this happened about a year or two ago. This was before I moved to the capital. But like what happened, I was on my way home late at night once, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm walking home. I'm walking alone, by the way. I'm walking home and I hear this
You didn't have
commotion.
Jeannie with you?
What's up?
You didn't have Jeannie with you?
Oh,
You
this was
have Jeannie with you everywhere.
oh, this was before I ever met Jeannie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought you guys knew each other from when you were, and he just kind of mimes being like really small on
Oh,
the floor.
oh, no, Jeannie and I met about 2 days after I moved to the capital, right? And Jeannie just kind of nods. um,
Sammy kind of nods to himself. He does not notice the just the discrepancy of cats knowing language and just being like, yes, totally. We met 2 days after you moved. Like, this is Toontown. This is normal for him.
I love this, but Arata goes. But I was walking home one night, and down the street I hear this commotion going on, and specifically I hear this woman calling for help, and there's nobody else out on the street. So I decide to go check it out, right?
Mhm.
There's this drunk guy harassing this woman. Some big shot guy in a suit thinks he's like tough shit or whatever. He's trying to get this woman into a carriage with him. And
Mm-hmm.
so this woman, she is scared out of her mind, trying to call for help, and nobody else is around, so I decide to go and, interrupt. So I tap this guy on the shoulder, and this guy, who, may I remind you, is drunk, and I mean drunk. He
Mm-hmm.
turns around, but as he turns around, he trips over his own feet and falls to the ground and smacks his head against the road, and now he's bleeding. And he is pissed. I didn't do anything. All I did was get his attention, right? He turned around and tripped on his own. But he
Mm-hmm.
blames me for assaulting him. And
Mm-hmm.
he calls the police over and scares the woman into telling the police that I had assaulted him. And I was arrested. And I got sued. Got kicked out of my school, so the courts ordered me to move to the capital for probation. And my parents disowned me after that.
Sammy just kind of he is just like, hey, holy peck, that's a whole lot to unpack right there. What the peck? B,
Sorry, Sammy.
B, why the heck would your parents disown you?
Does he
Just
say? Does he say that out loud?
it just he's still kind of like going through that mental process of like, what the peck? Why the peck? Who the peck do I have to go and punch?
Do you want to know the crazy thing about this?
What?
The guy, the drunk guy,
Mm-hmm.
he he ran for prime minister for the country. He was a corrupt politician. Do you want to know what happened when he got elected?
What happened when he got elected?
He confessed to multiple crimes.
There's just a dot of like a very visible dot, 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 question mark. Because
Okay,
wait, it's more of like just the wait. That's a really big healed face turn. What? Why did he confess when he got elected? If you say he's corrupt, and just like there's like math starting
okay.
to like
Arata is
appear.
grinning at this
Sammy.
point. Arata is grinning at this point, and he goes, "Okay, have you ever heard of a group called the Spirit Rogues?"
Sammy's gonna roll history.
Yeah, that checks out. Cause yeah, okay, okay. So like this checks out because while the Spirit Rogues as a group are from wherever the hell Arata is from, um,
Mm-hmm.
there has been one target that was targeted by a single Spirit Rogue. Cough cough trickster. Cough cough. Um,
And Gil was there.
Gil was there.
Of course, Sammy would know about that.
Yeah, yeah.
So he just kind of like lifts his fingers, like, I haven't heard of a group, but I've heard of a person running with the spirit rogues.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
audibly question mark.
yeah. Arata reaches for his bag and he pulls out a newspaper and it's an old one, kind of like a couple weeks old, and
Mm-hmm.
it's open on an article talking about this person, owner of an art gallery, prestigious, blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
who confessed to exploiting his workers, um, and found at the at his office and all over the museum were these calling cards,
Mm-hmm.
that were signed by a trickster of the Spirit Rogues.
Huh.
And Arata's like, you have no idea how surprised I was when I heard these guys were in Inkwell, because they're actually from my home country.
Mm-hmm.
They did stuff like this, and he points to the name. I think it was like Maximilian.
Yeah, like Maximilian something.
Yeah. And he says they're technically criminals, but they're also heroes because they saved lives by getting these corrupt individuals to confess a whole bunch of like different crimes.
So they're more like anti-heroes than actual villains.
I guess that's one way to put it. Anti-heroes, vigilantes.
I think Gil would really like those kind of people. They seem up his alley.
Avi, I'm like trying so hard not to laugh. oh. Oh gosh. But like, their biggest target was the guy who got elected prime minister.
Well, yeah, if he was prime minister, you said, if he was basically in charge of your entire country, then I mean, going after him would be a really big deal.
Mm-hmm. But like, he got what he deserved, and he's in jail now. Jail
That's,
for a lot of things. And
hmm
I mean, God, I don't even remember what the list was. There was a whole bunch of shit he confessed to. Did you know that our country had like this problem where people would just mentally shut down and they didn't know the cause of it?
Sammy kind of shudders at that.
Like, apparently he took responsibility for that.
I just yeah, there's a very visible shudder
Yeah.
in Sammy's like entire like line work and frame. Just nope,
Yeah.
no thanks.
But, like, yeah. um, it's it's one of the many things that I've been I've been through, but this is the guy who ruined my life.
Well, I'm glad that he's no longer able to do that to you, Arata.
Yeah.
I'm really glad. And like he's utterly earnest about that. And there's you don't even have to roll for this. There's a slight melancholy to that because Sinclair's still out there.
I'm trying to think of how he would word this.
hmm
Because he knows it's gonna be tough. His name was Simon Sinclair, right?
Yep.
Casually writes that down for errata purposes.
Yep. I'll really quickly like write it out for you.
Yeah. I'll put it somewhere else for a little bit, because oh boy. Um but Arata Arata looks to Sammy and he goes, Karma's gonna pop this guy one way or another, man. I can guarantee that.
Sorry, my brain didn't catch the first part of your sentence. Could you please repeat that?
Karma's going to pop this guy one way or another, man.
Okay. Okay. That's what you said. Heck yeah. Carver's gonna get this bitch. um, Sammy kind of grins at that. He's like, "Yeah, I hope it's sooner rather than later when that happens,
Mm.
because other other tunes don't deserve having to go through what I went through."
Yeah, I get that. You've. You know what's really weird, Sammy?
Sammy kind of tilts his head. What?
A lot of the friends I have made, both here and back home,
Mhm.
A lot of the friends I've made are similar in that they've all been treated poorly by people around them and whatever. And but for some reason we all agree that we don't want anybody else to go through whatever we went through. I know I don't want anybody to go through the hell I went through. Jesus Christ. uh,
Sammy nods. Seriously, he gets that.
like, you've got a good heart, Sammy. And I don't think anybody can take that away from you. Not not the Sinclair guy, not the police, not the gods themselves.
Hey, Arata?
Yeah.
And he kind of like leans over to kind of just bump his shoulder against Arata's legs. You you have a good heart too.
I try.
We all we can really do is uh try, I guess. And I think that's what makes it count. That
Yeah.
we keep trying.
Got that right.
Hey, Arata.
Yeah.
Sammy pulls out another pillow. Catch!
Ah! Hang on. You're
Roll a
asking
dex
Rogue to Dex. Is that against DC?
Yeah, just what's his DC?
His DC is 60.
It goes whizzing over your head.
Like, he kind of ducks and he was just like, "Are you trying to start a pillow fight with me, sir?"
Sammy just like there's like a split moment of pout, pout, pout. It didn't connect, and then grin. Why, yes, yes, I am.
Alright, come here, you. And he takes up the pillow. Was this count as a melee attack?
Yeah, I just rolled him like just a straight roll to hit.
Alright, well, melee attack. Arata's got no modifier in strength.
It just kind of whiffs, and he's just like. That's there's just like air that passes right by you.
Rogues. Yeah, they're pillow fighting now. Hang on.
Too. It just like
Oh.
I just feel like honestly Arata's like it just flies out of Arata's hands and like Arata has to go scrambling to grab it before Sammy retaliates. 18.
Okay, yeah, he got you. You get him.
Just woof. Just I feel like Sammy just whams right into you like on the back as you're trying to scramble up and grab your pillow. Just slap.
Just down on the floor. And he's just like, ah, I've been defeated.
Like very comedic, like a lot of like really comedic like feathers float down, and just Sammy kind of just plop right next to Arata, and he's like grinning a really big, wide, sharp-toothed grin. Because I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning, but he is without his hood and currently has his mask around his neck.
You!
Me.
You. He looks over to Genie, who looks like he's laughing. He points an accusatory finger at Genie and he just goes, "Don't laugh at me."
I
Neither should
think it's
you,
already
Lupine.
too
Oh my
late.
god, stop laughing at me!
Sammy just kind of tilts his head. Lupine.
Oh shit.
If you don't want to tell me, that's fine. But
Oh no, it's fine. I trust you with this. No, I just keep forgetting who knows and who doesn't. You know how I look like I'm human?
mm, mm, Sammy's shading goes gray because, for all intents and purposes, Sammy thought that he was human.
Yeah, I'm not exactly human. I'm what's known as a Kalash star.
Sammy's gonna roll history to see if he even knows what that is. The gray just kind of intensifies.
Okay, yeah, okay. I should have seen this coming. Okay. How do I explain this? It's like going through life with an extra passenger in your head. Lupine's my extra passenger.
So, like a built-in sibling.
Sort of. I think he's older than me, technically.
Sammy
Yeah.
just kind of claps his hands excitedly. He's just like, oh, "You've got a built-in older sibling."
Yeah, it means basically that well, I don't exactly dream the same way people do. I actually don't know what it's like to have a normal dream.
Mm-hmm.
But I can also, well, I can talk telepathically to some people, and sometimes Lupine wants to quip while I do that. But I can't, like, read thoughts or whatever if you're worried about that. Like, I can only hear what people say back to me.
Sammy's just like, huh. A whole realm of other possibilities has suddenly opened up to him. He has been enlightened.
But yeah, Lupine can be kind of a jerk sometimes. Like when he laughs at me.
He sounds like an older sibling.
Oh, he's an over dramatic sod. God. Lupine,
Sammy
stop! I
laughs.
don't even know what you're saying to me.
Sammy just kind of keeps chuckling. It's just like, because from what Sammy can hear, which is just Arata, it sounds like just sibling banter.
his name's Lupine, and he's kind of a jerk sometimes, but I mean we
Oh,
both got like same ideals, you know.
mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you have him. You know,
Yeah.
means you're not really alone.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, you can be physically alone, but
Yeah.
you always have someone with you, more literally than other people when they say, you know,
Can you roll me insight real quick?
all right, that's a +1. Oh, that's a 6. Dice parser, why?
Hmm. That sure is an unreadable expression on Arata's face.
Sammy just kind of blink, 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 shrug. He
Uh,
just kind of this Sammy's vibing. He doesn't really understand what expression that meant.
yeah, it's something so close to Arata lore.
Ah, damn you, dice parser.
I mean, if you want to roll with like actual, like physical dice.
You know what? You know what? Peck it. We're close to the end. I am going to roll with my actual dice. Peck you, dice parser. That was 15 plus 1, so that is a 16.
Okay, yeah. Something about something about being being alone reminded Arata of something, and it made him kind of melancholy.
Sammy just kind of leans over and bumps his knees against Arata's legs and is just, you okay?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you could say I'm hung up over something that happened a while ago, but it's okay, you know? Things happen and you just gotta
Do,
learn how to move on.
do you want to tell me what happened? Get it off your chest?
If you look over to Genie, his ears are flat against his head. He knows exactly what this is about. Um, Arata
You,
kind of leans back and he's laying down on his back
mm-hmm.
and he's staring at the ceiling and he goes, "You know how you and Gil are rivals?
Mm-hmm. Did you used to have one?
Yeah, I used to. He was. Ooh, I'm trying not to get emotional.
Gently pass.
Give me a second, give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
He was a lot like me. Except there was this one big, very important difference between the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
See, um, I, when I moved, I met all these wonderful, wonderful people, and I had a lot of friends, and then there was this guy who, well, he had literally nobody. And I didn't realize how much he was hurting until it was too late.
I'm so sorry, Arata. And Sammy kind of holds out his arms, kind of like holds out his arm kind of in that same fashion that Arata had done earlier if Arata wants a hug.
Yeah, I'll say he sits up and leans into a hug.
Yeah, Sammy just kind of wraps Arata up in a very good, solid hug. Of course, this boy is a barbarian. He gives very good, solid hugs.
He he disappeared one day. It was funny because he was the most famous teenager in the entire country, and he just disappeared. And all I can think of is what would have happened if we'd met sooner.
Yeah. Yeah, like you told me earlier, it can't really change your own timeline and don't don't blame yourself for not being able to see it then, because when you look back you always see things a lot more clearer with better understanding than when you're looking forward into the unknown.
Arata kind of nods, and he takes a deep breath. He looks like he's tearing up a little bit, so he like kind of rubs the thumb at his eyes, kind of like takes off his glasses and wipes at his eyes, and he takes another breath and he goes, "Well, he was kind of a dick." Like, no, like you know how like you and you and Gil have this whole chasing after each other kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Azumi, God, he tolerated me at best and hated me at worst.
Sammy just kind of gently squeezes Arata's shoulders, and it's just like, sounds like he was a real piece of work.
I mean, I can't. I mean, now that like I actually know what happened to him, I get it and I understand, but some of the conversations we had, man, God.
Mm.
I think he insulted me for not knowing how to play billiards. I don't know.
Sammy somehow knows what billiards is.
But like he was this he was this hotshot detective guy. It was all, oh, the speared rogues are dangerous, and he never did anything to find out their true identities. But like he really was a piece of work, huh?
Okay, Avi, I do have to ask, did he say our identities or their identities?
Their identities.
Okay.
And like it's we're running pretty long. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know. It's it's weird because like I hate him and I don't at the same time because our lives got ruined by the same man. How crazy is that?
Well, I, your life isn't exactly governed by plot like how we are, or just how we tend to believe, but it sounds like, just one of those really crazy, harebrained universe kind of just lined up. And if for forgive me for the tune logic here, but if the plot line had gone left instead of right, maybe you could have been friends, and you're mourning what could have been. Is that kind of how you feel?
Yeah, actually.
Hmm. Yeah, you just kind of. I honestly just feel like he just kind of plugs his chin on your shoulder, Arata, because he's still hugging you. He's not letting go until like you move out of his hug.
Yeah, and Arata is touch-starved boy, so he's not moving anytime soon. But I will say that like Genie's probably like on the floor, the both of them.
Mm-hmm. Like I feel like Sammy kind of one-handed awkwardly just kind of reaches out and like gently pats Genie a few times and then goes back to hugging Arata.
You just hear a gentle purr. I'm not gonna do
Yeah,
the cat noises today. I can't do
you're
it.
valid. You're valid. You don't have to.
And Arata kind of just it's he kind of just like he's got this thoughtful look and and he's laughing because looking back on it he you know looking back on all the shit that happened between us it should have been obvious to me. He even told me to my face that he hated me.
Mm-hmm.
But like he still hung out with me for some reason.
Oh, Asundere.
Yeah. Yeah. You say that, Sammy, and like Harada just starts laughing. the the biggest tsundere I have ever met.
Oh boy. Oh, that must have been fun to deal with. Like Sammy just there's like a very gentle, sympathetic pat, pat, pat. Sammy knows his Ghiblian tropes. Oof.
Narada is technically, I guess this world's version of Japanese.
Yep.
So he's just, you know, one time we got mistaken for boyfriends.
Sammy starts snickering.
Okay, this is a funny story. Okay, we went. Okay, he comes by where I'm staying. Right, I'm staying at this cafe because that's where I was staying for probation. Um,
Hmm.
he comes by. He tells me that he's got 2 tickets to an aquarium, and he wants to go, but he doesn't have anybody else to go with. So he invites me, and I'm like tired. This is like after school. I say yes. and we go to this aquarium, and we run into this. Like I said, this guy was the most famous teenager in the entire country. He was a detective, and he was good. And this reporter knew him. She knew both of us. I, she knew both of us because my school got involved in a thing. That's a different story, but like, she knew both of us, and she comes up to us, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing here?" And she tells us that she's here to write a like fluff piece about date spots for teenagers. And she asks if we're together.
Sammy he's like snickering and just that that sounds like when Gil and I we took his little sister to a carnival that was dedicated to Crinkle without knowing.
Oh my god.
And this was get a little so Gil had gone through a redesign, and so I didn't recognize him because his sister I knew his sister, and she calls him Gilly, and there could have been like it could have been short for Gilbert or any other kind of things, not just Gil. And so I'm just like, oh yeah, Gilly, okay. It went right over my head, just right over my head. I never said that I was the smartest tool in the box, you know, and it took until we were stuck on a Ferris wheel for me to actually go and realize, oh hey, this is the person you vowed to punch in the face. And so guess what I did? I punched him in the face because he was a dick. He was a
Oh.
dick before the redesign, and he was a lot better now. But and, like Sammy just starts like rambling and stuff because this was really funny, but this was also slightly embarrassing because he dated he not dated he decked his nemesis when his nemesis couldn't run, and he's just kind of like, ugh, that's actually kind of bad on my part. Whoops.
Okay. Uh, Arata is laughing. Arata thinks this is hilarious. There he goes. Man, imagine being stuck in a Ferris wheel with the guy you vowed to punch in the face.
Yep, that was me. That was me. And so I decked him because I made a promise, and yeah, there were other extenuating circumstances that happened, but we walked out of the um the fairgrounds and found out that our wristbands had been labeled couple by the person handing out the tickets. So
Okay,
yeah.
Arata just starts burst out laughing here.
Sammy's grinning, but he's also like his shading is slightly pink at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry. This person knew before you guys knew.
I mean, they worship Crunkle? And there's just quiet bafflement in Sammy's voice.
Hang on, I need to check if Arata would know. Crunkle. This is a real kind boy. You have a +1 in religion, okay. That's a 14. I guess he's heard of it.
I feel like Crunkle. I feel like Arata just knows that Crunkle is a love deity
He's got the
located
knife
in
cat
Idaho.
expression. This is prime opportunity to whack him with the pillow again.
You know what? Sammy is gonna just a 21. It just goes plump, and Arata, you just flump over to the side with the force of it, with a huge burst of feathers.
Yeah, I deserve that one.
And just Sammy just kind of regathers the pillow and just kind of hugs it to his chest, and he's just like, "So we both got." He just kind of starts mumbling into his pillow because he can't even bring himself to say we both kind of quote unquote were assumed to be dating our rivals. He's embarrassed.
Hey, I mean, if he wasn't such a dick, I probably would have considered it.
Sammy's like head pokes up from the pillow and just kind of nods and conceding a point.
Mind you, Arata is still like laying down from the force of getting hit by a pillow.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna make this boy suffer. Genie is now standing on his stomach.
Yeah.
Hey, Sammy?
Yeah.
I'm glad I know you.
And you get a very bright golden shading as Sammy kind of just beams right back at you, Arata, and his like arms kind of just like they loosen, but then they kind of just hug the pillow slightly tighter to his chest, and he's just like, and just kind of, you know how like when you're holding a pillow, you just kind of dunk your chin into the fluffiness.
Yes.
That's what Sammy's doing, and his face is extremely soft right now, and he's just like, yeah, I'm glad I know you too, Arata.
Do you want something to eat? I could probably cook something. Something that probably isn't curry, but.
Well, I mean, oh wait, can't use the picnic basket. Dang it. Canonically, it's already been used.
F.
And it's like, yeah, let's see how what the House of Paint gave us for supplies. I don't know if I went shopping before this, so we're gonna have to scrounge, I think.
Alright. I mean, I can probably figure something out.
I mean, if we really need, I can like there's a corner store a little bit a few blocks down. We can just really quickly run and get some stuff before Bev wakes up.
Alright, yeah. Okay.
Sammy gets to his feet and then he's just gonna hold out his hand for Arata to take.
Yep. Genie hops off his stomach. And he just takes the hand and he stands up and he goes, "You can't keep trapping me like this, Genie. I've got legs and I need to move." Now it's Genie's turn to do the knife cat face.
Sammy starts snickering. Yeah, so I feel like they head downstairs and then like I feel like the camera just kind of pans up through the window and you can just see a really pretty shot of stars. And I feel like that's where we could end it.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening to our boys talking about trauma. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
These
Thank you all
boys
for
are
listening.
friends, Your Honor.
Yes, they are very good friends and I love them so much. All right. Bye, you guys. Thanks for
Bye.
listening.
Bye bye.